Hi. Thanks. The encouragers are over there. And I know I have a bunch like sprinkled throughout, and I'm really grateful for that because, as you'll see, um, I am not the most confident person in the world. Okay, so I I had this temptation to come out and give you guys this disclaimer that, my story is smaller. I feel like the things that have happened in my life have just not been as remarkable as some of the other things you've heard and still will hear. But then I felt like that's a lie. Because, yes, because our stories are relative to us, right? So the things that are big to me might not seem big to other people, but when you're in it, and that's your life, it's a big thing. So I'm Jess Kirkwood. I was born, and so I also want to give one more disclaimer. All of the things that I'm mentioning today, I've completely worked through. I'm going to laugh. You can laugh with me. Some of it's kind of awkward, and that's okay. So I was born, let me get my notes together here real quick. Okay, I was born missing part of my foot, and that's why I'm barefoot. So I know that's really awkward. I'm standing here showing you guys. So for those of you who can't see it, I am missing a toe and part of the foot leading up to it. It's not a huge deal. Now it's mostly just an inconvenience. I have to buy 2 pairs of shoes when I go shopping, and that gets really expensive. I've actually had the conscious prayer driving home late at night that I wouldn't get pulled over, because if I had to do, if the cop for some reason thought I'd been drinking and I had to do any kind of walk the line test or balance test, I would totally fail and probably get arrested for at least a little bit until they realized I wasn't drunk. So because of this, it just sort of, I'm naturally a quiet person anyway, like Noelle has observed. This kind of just led to some situations that led to me being a really quiet, withdrawn person. And I've just struggled with fear and insecurity my whole life. These are my earliest memories for this. So one of the first memories I have with my foot being a big deal, I was at the swimming pool, where naturally, there's so much more of your body exposed and people can see all of your flaws. And I had gotten used to standing, with part of my right foot over my left foot, and for whatever reason, I was in the concession line. The line was taking forever, and I just really wanted this red licorice rope. They used to have those long licorice ropes. And I heard this giggle behind me, and then kind of this laughing, and I swing my head around, and I noticed the girl behind me and her friend were standing there, and the one was covering her mouth and pointing and laughing and nudging her friend, and they started giggling, and that'd be just normal stuff that kids do. Kids do this stuff. And so I turned back around, and they're a little bit older than me, and I felt kind of intimidated, but I really wanted that licorice. So I stayed in line and waited and waited, and the line was really slow, and the heat of the embarrassment from that, I just couldn't handle that. And so I went out of line, and I actually just went back to my mom, who I think I actually see. Is that my mom out there? Hi, Mom. She came. Hi, Mom. I went back to my mom. I don't know if I ever told you this story, Mom. I don't think I said anything to you then. And I didn't go back in the pool that day, and I missed out. So the next thing I can remember that has anything to do with this, I was home one day, and my brother had gone to his friend's house, and they were having some kind of party. There were a bunch of boys, and so my brother came home early, and we weren't sure why, and it came out that when he arrived, they started making fun of me. and I think they were hopping on one foot and like covering a toe and saying, do the Jessica dance. And they like made up this whole thing about me missing part of my foot. And when he came home, I learned two things. I learned, one, that I have a really awesome brother. So he had told them to stop, and they didn't, so he left. Yes, good brother. The other thing I learned was that I was funny enough that without me being present, for them to be reminded, or for them to have the satisfaction of seeing my reaction, I was funny enough. They would make a song and dance about me. You know, I felt like, wow. So the first time I thought, boy, I really need to hide my foot, and now I just felt like I just need to hide. And so this just started this tendency for me to put up walls around people, or around myself, away from people. I didn't trust that anybody would love me how I was. I felt like, so it slowly started to integrate into all of me, not just my foot, but like all of me. I was quiet, I was kind of weird. I grew up on oldies and not all of my friends did. All of these things were different about me. I was artistic and creative, and my mind just worked differently, and so I felt like I had to protect myself. And so I became that person who fit in. I would follow. So whenever I was in a group of people, I would just find a way to lay low. I would connect with people, and anything that was really unique about myself, I tried to hide. I just wanted to fly under the radar. I was that person that, given the choice, I probably would have just opted not to have any friends, because it was that difficult for me. It was always on my mind that I was different, I was other, I just don't belong. Even when I knew people didn't have a reason, they didn't know about my foot. I still felt that way. And so I was the follower, and so outgoing kids who kind of gather followers would make friends with me and sort of take me under their wing, but then along with that, I felt really unseen still. It was purposeful, but there was also that longing to be seen still, and just loved. And I even sometimes felt taken advantage of. Let me flip real quick here. So anyway, I went through high school with this mindset, and eventually I realized I started getting attention from guys, and I started getting attention for things I was good at. So I was good at art and music, and so I tried to put all of my energy into that and just define myself that way. Maybe if they love me in this way, they won't notice the other things. I'll just hide all these other things. And I also started dealing with depression and anxiety. And then into college, I got into a competitive major. So it's graphic design, and I was good at art, but I literally decided to do this because it was hard, and I felt like I could prove myself, and I felt like maybe people would love me, or maybe I could accomplish something and be better than I actually was. But then I lived for the weekend. I was into partying. We drank and did different drugs, and I just tried to escape. I couldn't handle the stress of school. Like I said, it was highly competitive. I felt like I just wasn't enough. I wasn't going to pass the review. I wasn't going to get the good grade. And I was in a bad relationship where there was a lot of guilt and shame and turning things on me, like things were my fault when they weren't. I was working a lot. And I was in a bad living situation where I had roommates, but I was essentially alone all of the time. And it was in this time that I really hit this tipping point that was just rock bottom. And I started having suicidal thoughts. I started thinking, I am not good enough. And I would have panic attacks. I would sit in the shower until the water was cold. And I just kept thinking, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. There's nothing I can do that is ever going to make me be enough. and I thought about suicide, but I knew deep down that I didn't want to do that because I also didn't feel, my mom also taught me not to be a quitter. And I knew like it has to get better. It can only get better than this. And so I started praying to God, and I didn't believe in God. I was an atheist. I started praying to a God I didn't believe in. And over the next year, he just slowly worked on me, and I started attending the church. I accepted Jesus. Yes. I know Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and he makes me enough. He makes me enough. Because the truth is, I'm really not enough. We're not enough. That's why Jesus came. And I met my amazing husband there, who is, I was just talking to Leah about this last night. He's like my rock. The way she put it is like the rock and the kite, and I'm just like, I'm the one who's like up and down and up and down. And I started learning about God and pursuing him, and he started to put friends into my life that walked alongside me, but I was still missing a piece, and I didn't realize it. And so one day I was driving home, and I was thinking about the idea of love, and I was really stewing over all the people who had hurt me, because there had just been so many. I felt like all these friends who used me, and all of the people who didn't notice me, even though I was right there the whole time. And then I realized not once had I stopped and loved them. My whole life was about building this wall and keeping people out. So I couldn't love other people. And sorry. So God actually gave one of my friends this verse to give to me. Sarah gave this to me for my birthday a couple years ago. And this was after I had started to love people, and God showed me how to be a friend and build into these relationships. And the verse is 1 John 4:18 through 21. And I'm in the wrong spot. Hang on a second. Sorry. Okay. There is no fear in love. Yes. But perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. If anyone says, I love God, yet hates his brother, he is a liar. For anyone who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, cannot love God, whom he has not seen. And he has given us this command: whoever loves God must also love his brother. So I had spent so much of my life feeling like a victim from the people who had wronged me, and this is not victim blaming. I just want to clarify that all of the situations that I'm referring to, this is not that. This was me dealing with my own vision of martyrdom, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that. But I just wanted to ask you guys a couple questions. So that is my story, most of it. And I just wanted to ask you, do you trust that God sees you? Because he does. He sees every part of us. He sees all the parts that we hate, all the parts that other people hate or think are funny or weird, even slightly weird. All of like the little things that we're insecure about. He sees that, and he still loves you. Not only does he love me and you, but he loves everyone around us, even so our friends, our enemies. And he does that better than anybody could ever know us or love us. Do you believe that? Do you believe that God sees you exactly where you are and loves you? Leah, do you want to come up? I had this demonstration I wanted to do real quick, and I thought it was too cheesy. And Mom, I borrowed your your watering can for this, and I left it in the car. Oh yeah, it's right over there. Thank you. And But then when everyone else was talking, I realized this just connects way too much. And God had me bring it for a reason. Okay. So this is us, okay? God fills us with his love. But fear stops us from loving other people. So I brought paper towels because we're probably going to get water everywhere. But if you see how much water is coming out, it's not a whole lot. So fear gets a hold of us and stops us from loving other people. He's stopping us. Or maybe for you, it's just following the next step. What is he telling you to do? And then God takes away that fear so we can love people so much more. That's good. Thank you. So that's us. If we hold on to fear, if we hold on to fears of how people are going to see us or doing something wrong, we're not going to be able to love other people fully. We have to let go, and God can take that away. So the last thing I wanted to tell you, I already told you guys, and Noelle kind of told this already, but so obviously I've had a lot of insecurity issues. And I am not the person to go and approach people at all. I don't do that. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so." I don't do that. I don't go and introduce myself because I'm the person who instead is thinking, what are they going to think if I say this? And then after I leave a conversation, it's like, why did I say this? I bet they think I meant that. And all of my friends can probably tell you, I've sent them text messages after experiences with them saying, "I'm so sorry, I hope you didn't think I meant this." And most of the time, they reply, "Oh, no, that was fine, I didn't think anything. It was just me overanalyzing." So me being up here is kind of it's a really big deal to me that I'm standing here. Yes, yes. And you guys are awesome. Thank you for being so kind. But yeah, so last year I left the conference and I felt like God was telling me, "You're going to speak next year." And I was thinking, yeah, okay, why would I speak? But I kept that in the back of my mind. And then later that summer, God told me to quit my job. And I'm the person who didn't go on interviews because I didn't think I'd get a job. The people who hired me and just provided a great job for me found me. So I told God, "Okay, I'm going to quit my job, but you're going to have to land the next thing in my lap because I'm not doing anything. I'm trusting you. So you do this." And so he did. Through a series of events, he brought a job that I never thought I would be qualified for into my lap. And I wish I could go more into that. But so anyway, so we get to the conference. The conference things start coming out, and Noelle's planning, and I see them posting stuff on Facebook, and I'm thinking, "God, I know your voice now. I know your voice for sure. And you told me I'm speaking at the conference. How is this going to happen?" And I kept praying and kept praying and kept praying, and finally I'm like, okay, I just need to talk to Noelle. So I get together with Noelle, and I tell her a half-truth. I'm like, "Noelle, I really feel like I'm supposed to be a part of the conference." And she, I don't know if she knew, but she smiled at me and she's like, "So in what capacity?" I'm like, you're actually going to make me tell you. And I told her, "I feel like God told me I'm supposed to speak." And she let me speak. So, but that's why I'm here. The fact that I'm here is me being obedient to the next step. Yeah, so. So my last thing for you, just to take away, is to think of this. So we're all from different churches and stuff, but we are all the body of Christ, right? So if you think of the body, and you don't just think out, even deeper than the hands and the feet and the stomach and stuff, we're cells. We're cells acting in the body. Have you ever seen what happens to a cell when it cuts itself off from all the other cells around us? We cannot let our fears about ourselves get in the way of loving other people. We are called to love other people. That is That is why we're together. We're supposed to love each other. That might look different in different circumstances, but we are supposed to love each other. So if I can give you like one phrase, and I have like 4 seconds left. I'm sorry, Noah. Hey, it's a miracle. I'm almost on time. My friends know I'm never on time. Okay. God loved us so that we could love other people. Right? So this is what God called me to do. And I'm just asking, what's your next step? We're all taking our next step. That's it. I'm taking mine. Take yours.